compulsion of mine, where I'm like obsessed with numbers. And so, it's not just like counting things, like counting stairs. There's 2 sets of 8 stairs leading up to my apartment. And so when I go up or down the stairs, I have to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same thing going down. I have to count them. I have to do things a certain way because it makes me feel better. And on some level, I think that by doing these things, these nonsensical things, like, I feel more in control of my life and a lot of shit that I can't control. And I get really obsessive about the shit that I can't control. I'll be honest with you. I get obsessed about so much that I cannot control. I feel this need to, like, save the world. And, as a lot of people do. And, but as a result, I get obsessed over a lot of things that I can't control. Here lately, I've been listening to a lot of current events and politics and stuff like that. And it gets me really down because I can't control it. I can't. And so every so often I have to take a step back and say, Becca, let it go. Let it go. You cannot control what's going on in the world of politics. You cannot control what is going on in the economy. You cannot control even what's going on with your coworkers. You cannot control how people interact with you. What you can control, and keep in mind I'm still talking to myself, what you can control, Becca, is what you do. I can't always control my thoughts even, but I can control how long I entertain those thoughts. I have these regular thoughts about, oh my God, Becca, you're such a piece of shit. Very negative thoughts about myself. I can't control that they come into my head, but I can control whether they stay in my head. I was talking to All Caps someone a couple of days ago, I think, about rehab, and specifically about the 12 steps. And I have a love-hate relationship with the 12 steps because, there is this spiritual element which is actually very helpful for a lot of people. For whatever reason, it's very helpful. But I had to break it down for All Caps someone. Like, look, take that spiritual element out of the 12 steps. Basically, here's what you've got. This is what I can control. This is what I can't control. I'm going to control what I can and let go of what I can't. That's it. That's all the 12 steps are. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Yes, there's a lot of, having to sort of do self-evaluation and self-reflection and a lot of self-forgiveness and then going out and trying to make amends with the people that you've hurt, and that's very valuable in a lot of ways. However, ultimately, it comes down to, here's what I can control, here's what I can't. I can't, I'm an addict in recovery myself. I may talk about this in a future show. But I used to be addicted to painkillers. And I still have some problems. Not active problems, mind you. I have thinking problems when it comes to wanting to numb pain. And I have to be real careful about what kinds of painkillers I take. Like if I get a headache, I have to be real careful about which kinds of painkillers I take and how much. And I do get a lot of headaches. I have to be, very mindful. When I had my son, via C-section, they gave me painkillers, and it was a little bit of hydrocodone with a lot of acetaminophen. And I went through what was supposed to be a 2-week supply in 1 week. And after I went through that, I went, okay. Clearly, I can't be trusted with this. And so at the time, for better for worse, I was living with a bunch of sighted people, and I showed them, I said, look, I've got this prescription. I legitimately need this because ibuprofen, acetaminophen by themselves are not going to help with this pain. I need that little bit of hydrocodone just so I can walk and take care of my baby. But I also know how my brain works, so y'all need to go in there and check on the levels of those pills. If you have to pull them all out and count them to see how much I'm taking, you've got to help me stay accountable in this. I can't control that that's what my brain wants. I can't control the way that my brain is wired. And I am predisposed towards addictive tendencies because of having depression, because of having anxiety, because of having PTSD, because of, and I mean, not least because I used to have a major problem with narcotic painkillers. But, excuse me. But because of these other issues in my life, I'm a little more susceptible to falling back into old patterns. I can't control that. What I can control is what I do about it. Like I just explained, I can control the people that I keep in my life, and I can control whether or not I keep people in my life who will hold me accountable. Now, these people I was living with at that time, they didn't hold me as accountable, but a mutual friend of all of us, who flitted in and out of our lives at that time, he kept me hella accountable for a lot of things. I was in a lot of pain a lot of the time. I was so exhausted so much, and he kept me accountable with those pills. He was great about that. I can say a whole lot of other things about that situation, but I won't. But I had that choice where I could have taken those pills and not said anything. But I didn't. I have the choice of saying nothing to my doctors about this history I have with addiction. However, I choose to keep in control of what I can't control. I can't control that I have the addiction, but I can control who I tell and how I cope with it. I can control the kinds of people I keep in my life. I can control the kinds of situations that I find myself in. I can control the choices that I make. Everything else, I gotta let it go. Even to this, even as early as today, I was having a real rough moment. I was breaking down. I was starting to break down in tears, and I swear to you, hand to God, I had the thought still, and I've been sober since 2006. I had the thought, fuck, I could really use a Vicodin right now. That thought popped into my head. I can't control the fact that popped into my head. What I can control is what I did with that thought, which was to go, no, I don't need that. What I need is something else. I need to get up. I need to take a walk. I need to get something to eat. Maybe I just need to have a good cathartic cry, because that's a good thing. But there's so many things in our day-to-day lives, and not just with addiction, not just with big things, with the little things. You can't control how the barista at Starbucks spelled your name, but you can control whether or not you throw your coffee in her face because she misspelled it. You can't control how long it takes for your food to come out or to be ready at, whatever fast food place you go to. Like I go to Sonic. This morning I was really hungry, and I had a free French fry. Well, it said free tots, but it's tater tots or French fries. I got French fries. So I had a free fry, and so I wanted to get a soda as well. So I go and I get my soda, and I have like maybe 20 minutes before work. And I work right next door to the Sonic. So this is something I actually do quite often. Anyways, so I put in my order on my app, and I run over there. I could not control when my food and drink came out. I got back to work at 7:20, 7:21, something like that. Because I couldn't control how long it was going to take them to bring me fries and a medium drink. Like, oh my gosh. But I could control whether or not I yelled at the poor little car hop working at 7 in the morning. I could control whether or not I threw my drink in her face. By the way, I had a friend that worked not at this specific Sonic, but at another Sonic in town. He had that happen to him a lot. People throw their drinks at him because they messed up the order or because it was late or whatever. I have control over how I react. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. You don't have control over that somebody. You don't have control over the fact that they cut you off. What you have control over is how you react in that situation. Are you going to escalate it? Or are you going to let it go? I'm going to come full circle. So letting go, it seems so easy to do. It's just like, oh, just let go. Just let go. Whatever. Not a big deal. It's a hard decision to make, but it is a decision that you are more than capable of making. And actually, in a lot of ways, when you make that decision to let go, you're actually exerting more power than you are holding on, trying to control it, or hanging up on your cross for that matter. I heard this from Joel Osteen. Do not judge me, okay? I once heard Joel Osteen talking about meekness. And he had a really, really great definition for what it means to be meek. Because oftentimes we equate meekness with weakness. But it's not. Meekness is strength under control. And the analogy he used was you look at a horse that has been tamed. That animal is still a very powerful animal. Very masculine. What's the word I'm looking for? Very strong animal. Very massive animal. Very powerful animal. That thing can kill you if it wanted to. Sometimes they do. Actually, fun fact and quick side note, I actually fell off a horse when I was like 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, something like that, and broke my wrist, and I'm actually terrified of horses now. Something that I hope to overcome in the near future. Anyways, but back to the horses. That horse has been tamed. That horse has been taught how to behave. It doesn't mean that horse lost strength or became weak in the process. It just learned how to control its strength. It is a meek creature, not a weak creature, as my wrist will attest to you. So remember, it takes more strength to let go. And I'm saying this to myself just as much as I'm saying this to anybody else listening to this. It takes more strength to let go.